Hello everyone, I'm Billy Higuera. This is my colleague Tomas Rubalcaba. We're here from Santa Ana College with the wellness program, and we're going to go over kettlebell training today. So we got a PowerPoint slide that we're going to take you through, and then we're going to show you some exercise and different modes of training in terms of being effective with the kettlebell. So objectives today, we'll talk about what a kettlebell is. We'll discuss why it's important. We'll determine when and where it should be used. We'll create the kettlebell sample workout, and then we'll practice the kettlebell exercise. So what is a kettlebell? Kettlebells have been around for a long time. And the nice thing about these things, it's a mobile training tool. Okay, we got a big one right here, but you guys can carry it in the back of your vehicle, take it with you on vacations, do a workout at the beach, on the sand, and have some fun with it. But again, these are just some of the different pieces to the kettlebell, the handle, the corner. So if someone tells you to grab it by the horn, like we're gonna grab the kettlebell by the horn, you kind of know where that's at in terms of the training program and the type of exercise. The bell itself and the base, okay? Why should we use it? So a lot of times we talk about having limited time, limited space. These things, as you can see here, you don't need a ton of area to perform a good workout. And you'll see when we do these examples with myself and Tomas, the space is not big in terms of being able to perform an effective workout. Develop skill and coordination. Great picture here, you can see pretty functional, okay? This kettlebell is gonna allow us to do a lot of different things with our grip, our wrists, that traditional dumbbells and barbells don't necessarily allow us to do that. Full body primal movement patterns, multiple planes of motion, meaning we can twist, we can side bend, we can forward bend, we can extend. So a lot of three-dimensional movement patterns that we're allowed to do with kettlebells. And then the weight and movements are scalable. So you can see here different sizes. Obviously this big boy would be used more for lower body unless you're really strong in the upper. And then maybe you have to go lighter with the upper body as well. So when and where to use it, again, great picture here, 4 guys working out, doing some functional training. But again, it just varies in terms of your goals as a firefighter, right? Do you want additional volume, right? So maybe you already do some heavy lifting with your barbells, you're doing heavy squats, heavy front squats, but you want to add additional volume so you get some of the lighter kettlebells, work more of the accessory muscles, the smaller muscles. You can use it for conditioning. We'll go over some kettlebell swings today. That can be used as a different form of conditioning if you're not a big fan of just like going on for a run or running on the treadmill. And then again, it's an object that can mimic demands of the job. So because of where you're able to hold it and the type of grip, it creates a different response from your body where you're like, okay, this thing's swinging in my hand. The weight of it is different, the grip challenges. So again, hopefully you'll be able to apply the strength here to what you guys are gonna do every day at work. Okay, so how to incorporate it as primary training. So the aim here is full body limited rest, and there's a lot of pushing and pulling. So meaning we're working the front side of our body and working the back side of our body. If the time of work is shorter, so for example here, 8 to 15 minutes, the sets and rounds should be high intensity, and the focus is completing the sets quickly. If you're doing like a 20+ minute session, then you're gonna do higher reps, more of that grinding type workout where your heart rate is really high and you're not getting a lot of break. In addition to the cardio aspect, you know, calisthenics should also be a staple. Again, a lot of functionality in terms of what this weight can do. And if you find one weight you like, you can just go from lower to upper body seamlessly without having a bunch of different pieces of equipment. So again, accessory training, the goal here is to get some volume to complement the primary lifts of the day. So I use that example is maybe I still want to get heavy strength training, right, with my deadlifts. So I'm gonna load a barbell up pretty heavy, do my 5 sets of 5, and do maybe some other, maybe a front squat, maybe a overhead press. And then I go to kettlebells and do, as you can see with this picture, some single leg RDLs. We'll do those today. But now we got a little bit more proprioception, balance going on. Again, they'll even talk about like the Turkish get-up, very complicated movement. We're not going to do that one today, but it is a great one in terms of just, again, more functional training for you guys. So the kettlebell workshop that we're going to do in terms of exercise, we're going to talk about some upper body dominant, some lower body dominant, and then some whole body exercises that we'll show in terms of examples. So we're going to start with the upper body dominant. Tomas is going to help me out here in terms of doing things correctly. We're going to start with the kettlebell press, okay? So we're going to stand here. He's going to hold it at his chest level. And as you see, he already did the swing there, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But you can see where he's holding it on his arm. It's nice and comfortable on his forearm. So if you wear any fancy watches, make sure you take those things off with the kettlebells. And then he's just going to go ahead and press and up, okay? So very similar to a shoulder press with dumbbells or military press. But what I'm going to ask him to do now is I'm going to ask him to start inside more and then rotate out as he presses. So he's going to boom, drive, and rotate. And what you'll notice is that kettlebell, the way it's weighted into his arm, it allows his shoulder to move a little bit more functionally and more normal. So our arms rotate a lot. They don't really stay still. Just like when I reach for something, it rotates. Or when you throw something, your arm rotates. So go ahead and do it on the left side. That way we don't max him out on reps here. Okay, so then he drives and rotates. Okay, and so if you have problems with shoulders, like barbell military press, a lot of guys can get some impingement or issues with the shoulder. This is a great option for you, hopefully to be able to do it pain-free. Okay, next one we'll do is a kettlebell floor press. Okay, so Tomas is going to be on the floor. Okay, and what he's going to do to get the weight on, he's going to go sideways and face the kettlebell. So his whole body is going to face it over here. So he'll rotate his knees and everything. Yep. Okay, and he's going to grab the weight. This is a lighter weight, so he could probably do it without it. But if you go heavier, you want to grab it and then rotate that weight onto your body. Okay, and then he's just going to drive the weight up and down. Okay, so just like a bench press. Okay, or a press on maybe a dumbbell press. But the reason we do it from the floor is this limits his range of motion. Okay, so he has to stop when his arm touches the floor, and then he'll go ahead and drive up. Okay, but the reason we do it from the floor is there's a tendency when you do a bench press with a barbell or a dumbbell, you'll go past your shoulder range of motion. Okay, so like if I'm here with the barbell, I'll go, and I'll drop way too far back, and that's where I can create some potential shoulder issues, nerve issues there. So this limits your range, but you can still get strong there, okay? And you can even do other things. Go ahead and pause there, Tomas. Bridge up for me. If you really want to get even more functional, he bridges and he drives down. Now he's got his whole core working, his hips and his chest. Go ahead and relax there. Good job. All right, so the next one we'll do is a single arm bent over row. Okay, and so there's a couple different ways. I'm going to have him do more of your traditional where he's going to bend his knees, he's going to hinge at the hips. Yep, and then he's just going to row up. Okay, do you mind putting in your left arm? Yeah, there we go, so you can see. And then I'm going to ask him to pull his hand to his pocket. Okay, and what that ends up doing is he ends up working his lats more. If he does more where people pull it to his chest, so pull it to your chest, now he's working a lot of upper trap, and I want more. Go ahead and do the pocket again, lats and lower trap, okay? So it kind of saves you from shrugging. Again, same thing with a kettlebell. He can rotate with his arm as he's doing it, so he can go overhand to start and pull it, boom. So just like that, okay? Go ahead and relax. I kind of tell people, and I don't know if this works with this generation anymore, but starting the lawnmower, right? You go and grab the cord and then you yank it, your arm rotates, and you guys start chainsaw, right? Boom, and pull. So that rotation is a little bit more functional than keeping your arm still the whole time. All right, other ways to do the bent over row, you can do a staggered stance, right? So you can put one foot in front of the other. So now it creates some instability there, okay? Really up to you. The key is his posture. You see how he's nice and solid here. Go ahead and round your back, make it really bad. Yeah, just keep an eye on things like this. Relax. Again, that'll work. That hip hinging, good posture, save your backs in the long run. All right, now we got the halo. So the halo is a nice core exercise. Some of you might have done this with weight plates before. The nice thing with the kettlebell, it's less likely to hit you in the head. With the weight plate, sometimes people knock themselves upside the head. So he's gonna go, if you wanna face him, there you go. So bottoms up here, and then he's gonna rotate that kettlebell around his head, and then go the other way, okay? Now this doesn't look like much, but what he's trying to do is create stability in his trunk and his core while that weight's moving around his body, okay? Do like a really bad one where like maybe you're a little wobbly. See how he's doing too much, right? He's allowing that weight to carry him, and there's not a lot of stability there. So when he goes and does a good one, there's not a lot of movement other than his upper half, his shoulders, and you will feel the core kind of tense up, and very much an isometric exercise in that sense. Good. Okay, and now we'll do a kettlebell overhead carry, and all he's gonna do is just gonna hold it up and drive, and then he could potentially walk, 20 yards, 50 yards, whatever you wanna do. But the key is keeping the arm close to the ear. You don't have to touch, but close. There's a tendency as guys get tired, they get out here. I'm not gonna take them too far. But the further that object gets away from your center of mass, you're adding a crazy amount of stress on your shoulder, so we just need to be careful there, okay? Keep it solid, keep it locked, right? Everything engaged, extension, triple extension through the body, all that stuff as he walks. No wobbling forward and back and things like that, okay? So again, carries, there's amazing things with carries. You guys do that all the time, but the great thing to do is like a 20 kilo in the left hand and a 10 kilo in the right hand, different kinds of weight. So now your body really has to adapt in terms of what you're doing. And then we know day to day, things don't always weigh the same, right? So we're creating that functional workout there. Okay, so we'll go into lower body dominant here. We'll do a RDL. So he's gonna do 2 legs, right? Bilateral RDL here. And so go ahead and start. Good. And then back up. Now, a lot of people stay away from RDLs because they think maybe they've hurt their backs before or their hamstrings. Tomas has good range of motion, so he's able to go pretty far while maintaining good posture. Good. And then come back up. Now, what I want you to do is watch his hips. I always tell people just stop when your hips stop moving. So when his hips go, once his hips stop moving, that's as far down as he should go. Most people think they got to go touch the ground. So touch the ground for me if you can, however bad you need to do it. And what happens is now he's rounding through his back. Then he has to come back up and extend or stays rounded. And that's when your back, you pull that muscle. So again, it's all about the hips, right? Happy Gilmore. Okay, hips go back, hips go forward. Okay, so same thing with the single leg. Now there's some balance. Okay, so go ahead and go single. And you can do right arm standing on your left leg, so it's more of an offset, okay? And then he hinges at the hips, and then he comes up. Again, you do not have to touch the ground. That is not the goal. The goal is to find your range of motion, and when your hips stop moving, he's done. So do like a really short one. So let's say your range of motion, your hips stop there, that's it. You can go further without weight, or you need to work on mobility, which is perfectly fine. But you don't want to be going too far down with loaded weight, and then all of a sudden you hurt yourself or pull your hammy, okay? Now what I'm going to ask him to do is a staggered stance. So some of us might struggle with balance. That's okay. You do a staggered stance where his right toe is on the ground still, and it's the same range of motion there, okay? Yep, so you can do right hand again still, yep. And so his hips move, and then his hips come forward. So now he's just creating a little stability, and he can go on the tippy toe too on his right. So he just has something else to help him with balance. If you feel like you do the single leg and you can't even go down and up without falling over, start with this, and then you can go single leg. A lot of benefit. Go ahead and relax. Posterior chain, hamstrings, glutes. This exercise, if you're not doing it at least once a week, I mean, this could be a game changer in terms of back health, hamstring health, and hip health. All right, we're gonna go goblet squat. A lot of people do this one, okay? You want to face him for this one? There we go, okay? So he grabs it by the horns, he holds it at his chest, and then he just does your traditional squat, okay? So again, his range of motion is good. This one you can go pretty heavy with kettlebell if you wanted to. There are 100-pound kettlebells out there, okay? But it's just your traditional squat. There's nothing too innovative about this. What I will say is if you're not a back squatter, you can relax. If you're not a back squatter where the barbell is here and you don't like that feeling or you've had issues with it, get the kettlebell, do the goblet squat, 45 pounds, 50 pounds. You could even do more. You feel pretty strong. But what happens is by him holding it at his chest, go ahead, and he goes down, his core is having to work a lot more in his shoulders. All this front side has to work really hard so he doesn't bend over and do one. So let's do a bad one where the weight carries you down as you squat. See that? So the weight is carrying him down. He has to create a lot of strength to keep the weight on his chest and go from there, okay? Very similar like a weighted vest squat. The only difference is you got to keep this weight here and get your shoulders to work. You're gonna relax there. Okay, so again, another game changer if you don't do any type of squatting. All right, we have a front rack squat. Okay, so this one, we got offset kettlebells, which is actually perfect. One side's heavier than the other. So he's gonna hold that, and let's put the kettlebells, there you go, yep. And then what you'll do is elbows are like this, good, and they're just resting on his arms. Not super comfortable, but it's the right idea in terms of what we're trying to do. And this is what we like. Lighter weight here, heavier weight here, throws them off balance a little bit. And again, now you can get a little heavier with the kettlebell. Very similar to a goblet squat, just different demands on his shoulders and his core. Good. Tomas is gonna sweat today. He's gotta do all the reps. All right, so next one we'll do is sumo squat. Okay, so sumo squat. His toes are gonna be pointed out, really wide stance, go ahead. Good, okay? And go, see, can you go a little bit wider for me? Okay, try that out. Good. And what you're gonna feel here is a lot of stretching in the groin and the inside of the hips, great for mobility. The toes are pointed out. If we know anything about sumo wrestlers, right, it's that big, wide stance, toes out, and that's why it's called the sumo squat, okay? Again, for you guys as firefighters, the nice thing about this exercise is we know the demands that are asked of you guys in certain scenarios. Maybe you have to pick something up between a bathtub and a wall or something. It's not amazing space, and you got to get into some funky positions. Can your body do that, right? So why not do some of these every now and then to loosen up those hips, and now you feel comfortable getting in those deep ranges, okay? Thank you. Good. This is the one whenever we do sumo squats with people, they're usually the next day going like, man, I'm a little sore there, right? They're just not used to getting in that position. All right, now we got the fun stuff with whole body dominant. And now when we talked about that cardio aspect, that speed, that quickness, we can go a little faster with these things, okay? So you have your kettlebell swing. A lot of people have been doing it for a long time. We're gonna do people call them different names. You have your traditional and you have your American. So we're gonna do the American one first, okay? So Tomas is gonna squat down mostly, and then as he comes up, he'll swing, okay? And the difference is with this American, is his hips, he's squatting more than hinging. And then he kind of swings his arms up and he goes a little higher overhead. CrossFit style, a lot of people tend to do it this way. Go ahead and relax. And so, not a bad exercise, just a different version of this exercise. A little bit more quads and back and shoulders involved. Now we're gonna do more of the traditional kettlebell swing where it's more about your hips and being explosive. And your arms are more just the carriers of the weight. They're just helping with the swing. Okay, so he's gonna hinge and pop, hinge and pop, hinge and pop. Two more. Good, and relax, okay? And so that power that he's using with his hips to drive and pop, drive and pop. We talk about being explosive as we get older. There's not a lot of exercise we tend to do to be explosive. We usually stop sprinting. We usually stop jumping. So if you're not sprinting anymore, you're not jumping anymore, I would highly recommend kettlebell swing to create that explosiveness in the hips, right? Very similar to jumping, okay? So this is nicer on the knees. You don't have to worry about the landing. So kettlebell swing gets the heart rate going, different type of cardio. Okay, some other versions of swings that we can do is a kettlebell swing with a lateral step. So now we get even more functional. We talk about that 3D pattern. So down and then up. Yep. Boom. Good. So now he's getting the lateral lunge, and then he's getting the swing as well. Now the object's moving, it's throwing him off balance. Good. And go ahead and relax. Okay? So 3D patterns, right? Forward, sideways, rotational. The more we can add that, the more functional we'll get. Okay, and then another one we have is single arm kettlebell swing. Again, we always talk about training different sides of our body, not just doing bilateral movements. So he's gonna go single arm and just pop, okay? Yep, and then you can do one where you transfer, right, from one arm to the other, okay? So there's so many types of swings. We can't go through all of them today, but there's a bunch of them. You can step backwards and swing through. You can, again, the exercises are really limitless in terms of the kettlebell and how functional you want to be. People will ask us all the time, hey, is this exercise good? Is this exercise good? Can I do this? Is this okay? If it's not causing you pain and your body looks like it's moving well, we're not doing any funky little things with our neck and our back, then yeah, it's a great exercise. Kettlebell clean and press, okay? So he's gonna grab the kettlebell, and then he's gonna pop it to the shoulder and then drive. Boom, good. Yep, do a couple on the right and a couple on the left. And this, again, being explosive, right? With speed. Get that up, pop, and then drive. So those of you that do clean and press with barbells, tends to be heavier. You can do a clean and press with a dumbbell, but if you notice what he's able to do with his wrist, he's able to swing the kettlebell quickly, catch it, and drive. And so if you really like those ollie lifts, those Olympic lifts, but you don't care for the barbell anymore, this creates a different type of demand for you, right? And again, single arm is where barbell is usually two hands and through. Okay, more range of motion for your shoulder, easier pattern to get through there. Okay, all right. So those were the exercises. Again, there is, I would say, if we did all the exercises that kettlebells have to offer, this would be like a 3 to 5 hour video. We're not going to do that, but we do have a library of it. Again, the idea here is this kettlebell allows you to do a lot of different functional things in different functional areas. You just saw we are in this room and we can get a legit workout today and feel good about it and feel like it's gonna help us with day-to-day tasks that firefighters have to do on the job. So here's a type of workout or programming that you would do, okay? And all it is with workouts is your exercise, your volume, your time modalities, okay? So for instance, this one says do 1 minute on, 1 minute off for 3 rounds, okay? So you're doing a total of, you would do an upper body dominant exercise. So let's say we do overhead press, right? 1 minute, and you could do 30 and 30, as long as you're doing something for 1 minute. And then we do a lower body dominant exercise. So let's say I'm gonna do squats for 1 minute, and you have a 1 minute off in between those. So we go upper, lower, and then 3 rounds of that. So you end up really working out for about 12 minutes. Now, because the time is so long, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, the speed is gonna be a little slower. So this is, let's say you've never used a kettlebell before, you're kind of learning what it does, right? Okay, all right, I feel good. I'm gonna be a little bit more slower and controlled, plus I gotta do it for a minute. There's only so much speed I can go. 1 minute, I'll gas out pretty fast. So again, 1 minute on, more about learning your traditional strength movements with the kettlebell. Now, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Now we're getting more into that heart rate workouts, more tempo workouts. So Now you can go a little faster. Now what we would do is something like an upper body exercise, a lower body exercise, an upper body exercise, and then a total body exercise. So that would be that kettlebell swing, that clean and press. Again, it has to be something you can do fast, right? Some people will say, hey, can we do the Turkish get-up? Turkish get-up tends to be slower, right? It's not gonna get the heart rate up. Kettlebell swing, 30 seconds, go, go. You're gonna be breathing hard, okay? So again, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 3 rounds. You're doing about, what is that? Sorry, I just lost it in my head. 30 minutes, that's about 6 minutes of work, okay? So again, great one to add at the end of your workout. Now, last one, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. So the work is double the rest. Now you would do an upper body dominant, let's say a row, 20 seconds, fast, fast, fast. 10 seconds off, 20 seconds off, fast. Whole body, kettlebell swing, 20 seconds. Then I do a lower, let's say I do an RDL, right? Boom, 20 seconds. And then I do a clean and press, 20 seconds. So you're doing 20, 40, 60, a minute 20 times 4 rounds. You're doing about 4 to 5 minutes of work, but you're gonna get gassed with this one. And that's the whole point. It's like a finisher, or what we would call a Tabata. So Tabatas are quick. You just did a great workout, and now it's like, hey, you know what? I got some time. We don't have any calls. I'm almost at the end of my shift. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do a good workout, get tired, and move on with the rest of my day. Okay? So that's pretty much it. Programming is all about being functional, being quick with it. Again, very amazing tool that you can use. Use it as much as possible because it's a great option for you guys. Thank you for your time, guys. Take care.